Today I'm going to show you a video on how to do a tire rotation only using the car jack that comes with the car. This may be different on all trim models, but first you have to take off the spare tire. So on mine, I have this whole cubby system. So what you want to do is you want to pull it back slightly so you can see the cup holders. And then you see that bolt right there, that's going to be your spare tire. So again, what I did is I also took off this rubber piece that goes in there. And then with the car tools, we have this really long rod, and you want to place it in here. As you can see, I have placed it in here. And I'm going to also grab this plastic piece, and I'm just going to put it on here, and it will kind of click on. So again, then you want to go righty tighty, lefty loosey. You want to, shouldn't be that tight, but you just want to keep on tightening until fully loaded down the tire. But this is what's gonna look like. So I've lowered, fully lowered down the tire, and you can see there's some slack, which is what you want. And now what you want to do is you want to use both of your hands, lift this slightly, and then pull it towards you. And you have to do this on the driver's side because the exhaust is going to be in your way on the passenger side. So I have the spare tire with the cover still on. There's the metal wire that comes from inside the car in there. Now when you get enough, you basically want to pull this up. And then you see these little flaps, you want to pull up and then push down on these flaps at the same time, and then on both sides. So like there's one flap, and then you want to pull it down. You see how it went through? And then you want to do the same thing with this flap. You want to push that down, and then this whole system should come out. And when that comes out, you can take out your spare tire. Here, as you can see, I got both flaps down, and I just want to push through. And then from the other side, you want to grab it and just pull it out. There you go. That's your system for the spare tire. You want to put that somewhere, and then you can actually fully take out your tire. The plastic cover, and this is what your spare tire looks like. Now, while you're here, so the tire pressure should be at 60 psi for the spare tire. If it's not, you should probably add some air into it. And then this is the diameter of the spare tire. So what you want to do is you want to grab the jack that comes with the car and put some blocks or chocks on the rear wheel so the car doesn't move when you are lifting. And you want to start lifting from the driver's side. So these are my front jacking points. There's going to be one hole right there, and then the other one is right here. So again, one right there, and then one right there. That's your jacking point hole. So I lifted jack just enough, and so here's what my jack looks like. So there's one hole, and then there's the other hole. You want to make sure you're right in between those holes when lifting the front driver's Forgot to mention this, but you want to make sure these are all loose so you can take them off, or take the whole tire off when the car's lifted. Up the tire, and as you can see, the tire is slightly floating off the ground. You could have lifted up more, but I'm not going to. So again, you want to loosen these up by hand, and you want to take off my front driver's side tire. And I'm going to install the spare tire on this side. So tighten these on as much as you can while the vehicle's still in the air. Then lower them, and then you don't have to go super tight, but make sure these lug nuts are all tight so the tire doesn't fall off while you're doing it. So I got all the lug nuts on, and I'm going to use the tool that comes with the jack stand. Just going to hold the tire with my shoe, and then just going to put it on, and then tighten these in a star pattern. So I'm going to slightly tighten it or hold it, and then you basically want to tighten these until the tire starts moving. And again, in a star pattern. So that one's slightly loose, tighten that one up, and then that one's tight, and last one. And there you go, that's good. And now you got that down. Now you want to lower the tire. You want to put it onto the driver's side rear. So to jack up the car, you're gonna need to find like this little that little flap right there. You can kind of see it right there. There's a better look, but you want to place your jack, but usually right beside that flap, or you could also look by your door line. And so here's your door line, and you want to kind of be in the center, close. See how it's slightly forward? That's fine. And again, you want to make sure that you want to loosen these lug nuts first before you actually lift up the car, and you want to make sure it's beside that flap. So I just lift up the vehicle and it's again slightly floating off the ground. You can go higher. So I'm gonna take off these lug nuts and replace this tire with the front tire of the. I took off all the lug nuts and now I'm gonna take off this tire and replace it with the tire that came out from the front driver's side tire to the rear driver's side of the vehicle. And I also tightened these lug nuts up while the jack's still on and then the tire's still in the air. When you lower down the jack, you want to make sure. When you lower down the vehicle and taking out the jack, you want to make sure you torque this wheel down to 100 pound-feet. This is going to be a torque spec for all the wheels. Just took the front driver's side tire and I put it in the rear driver's side of the vehicle. And I tightened these lug nuts up as much as I can while the tire's still in the air. I'm going to lower the. So I jacked up the vehicle and again I'm in between the holes, so there is one hole. And then there's the other. And there's the rear driver's side tire hanging over there. So I jacked up the vehicle, I made sure all these lug nuts are loose. And then I'm gonna take off this tire right now. I'm gonna replace it with the driver's side rear tire. While you have the driver's side tires off, you should probably inspect like the rotor, make sure there's any cracking or warpage. Inspect the brake caliper, inspect the pads looking through there. Inspect all your tie rod, your sway bar link, your strut, or McPherson strut is what it's called, the brake lines, basically all these lines. You want to make sure the boots aren't torn off. So do an inspection before you put the tire back on. So I just tightened all the lug nuts, and now I'm going to bring the vehicle down. Now the vehicle's down, I'm going to tighten these again. Final torque, it's going to be 100 pound-feet, and doing star patterns. So that one, that one, that one, that one. Just loosen the rear passenger tire, and now I'm gonna jack up the tire. And you see those two little bumps? You kind of want to put your jack in between those two bumps to lift up. So there's one bump, and then there's the other little bump. Now I'm gonna lift up the tire, and again, don't forget to loosen up all the lug nuts on the tire. I just lift up the vehicle up, and again, it is still in between those bumps anyways. I'm gonna loosen this tire up, and then this tire is gonna be on the front driver's side. That's why we have the spare tire, so we can easily move these tires with only using one. Just lifted the rear passenger side tire up, and these are all loose, and I'm gonna unloosen all these and take off the passenger rear side tire and inspect everything again. Inspect your rotor, inspect your brake caliper, make sure nothing's broken or torn. Inspect your spring, your shock absorber, all these AC lines if you have any of these lines again, brake lines, exhaust, heat shields, and inspect everything. Make sure everything looks good and nothing's broken or torn. I just tightened up all the lug nuts on this while it's still in the air, and now I'm gonna lower the wheel down. And again, don't forget to tighten this to 100 pounds. The front driver's side, and now you want to take off the spare tire, and you want to find the lift point. There's two holes, one right there, and then one right the tire. So while I took it off, I'm going to again inspect the rotor, look for cracks or warpage, inspect the caliper, inspect these boots right here, inspect all these lines, make sure there's nothing cracked, inspect the boots that are here too, and this boot, inspect the boot over there, inspect your strut, your brake lines, everything, inspect it, make sure nothing's broken or torn. I installed the tire and tightened the lug nuts as much as I can while it's still in the air, and now I'm going to lower the tire down. So I lowered the vehicle down, and I'm going to put the spare tire back on. So you want this side to be sticking towards you, so see how it sticks towards you, that's what you want it. And then you want to put the cover back on, and then you want to bring it under the car. Now I'll show you how to grab this, and you kind of want to pull it through that hole right there. So again, you want to lower these flaps down. You want to lower these flaps, so you want to push them down again. Then as you're pushing down, you want to push this whole thing through. So like I did right here, everything's on. And I'm going to lower it and try to put it to the center of where the tire was. The area you kind of want it. You want it to be right above where the originally was. Now you want to go back into your vehicle. Now you want to tighten this wire so the whole tire lifts up. So there it is. I just raised the tire up, and this little... Put this thing over. It actually tells you which way to tighten and lower. So the lowering is to this way. And and then it says raise and click 3 times, and then you want to tighten this way. So you'll hear 3 clicks, and then that should be enough, and you are done.